In the service territory, and I'll go into the service territory a little bit, but because our volunteers are so important, they wanted to leverage all the skills that, we have 59 people on this call. You all have different skill sets that you bring to the table. And what we want to do is start leveraging that. The professionals only have so many hours in a day, and they really are going to rely more and more on us volunteers. They also want to do something that we haven't done in the past, and that's build a community of spirit between the territories and the councils. So you'll see that in a minute, how we plan on doing that. Go ahead, next one. So National sat down and said, what's the most important element here? Who's our customer? And the most important and the ultimate customer is the scout. And we have to support the scouts through our units. And they also want to set up these things called lighthouse councils. And a lighthouse council is a council that seems to be doing something well, and we want to share it. For example, there's a council in Texarkana called the Cato Council. The last 4, they were the only council in America that had membership increase last year, 4.5%. And they've had membership increase the last 4 years. Now they're a small council, but we want to pull them in and say, well, how did you do that? Are there some elements we can share with other councils? I personally spoke to the Scout executive, and he basically said, all the stuff they taught me how to do membership, I threw it out. I started all brand new, and I taught our people how to do something different that they weren't doing before. I won't go into all the details, but he basically reinvented how to do membership, and he seems to be having some success. So we're going to take a look at that, and actually our area council presidents are looking at that in a week and see if there's some elements we can use in our area 7. Okay, next one. I kind of went over this, the council lighthouse, but I want to point out point 5, mentoring and coach for both volunteers and staff. What we want to do is, let's pick on Jim Holt. Jim could be a mentor for a lot of people. He could help out if we let him loose to do it. So what we want to do is identify those people and let them go and start mentoring other volunteers that may be just coming on for the first time. I remember when I first started working on coming back in to work in 2006, I didn't know a lot. And it wasn't until I got a mentor that helped me get through it that I was able to pick up things. Go ahead, next one. This is an eye chart, but this will give you, there's the 16 territories, and we're in territory 15. You can see it down here in the lower right corner. I don't know if my cursor is working, but it's right down in here. And I'm going to give you a lot more detail who's in that territory 15. So when is this going to be announced? What they're doing now is the key 3 and all through America submitted names to be the leaders in those territories. And I'm going to go through how that leadership is being set up. The national folks are choosing the key 3 for each territory. Now in our territory 15, our area vice president is going to be Rodney Carpenter, who is our area director right now. But we don't know who's the territory president. They're calling it a chair or vice chair. There's also a vice chair or a commissioner. So go ahead, next slide. I'll let you look at this for a minute. Territory 15, we have 20 councils. That's the most councils in any territory. There's 1 or 2 other territories that have 20. But you get an idea. We go from geographically southern Virginia, all of North Carolina, and all of South Carolina. And I think some of these South Carolina councils have a couple of northern Georgia units. Like here's Augusta, Georgia, number 3. So we do have some stuff in northern Georgia. So that gives you an idea. And then the size of the councils, I can give you an idea of the size. 200 is the biggest. So, okay, next slide. This is a work chart for the territory, and on the left-hand side, you'll see service territory chair. That's what would call an area president. Service territory vice president. That's the professional. That'd be Rodney, and then a service territory commissioner as well. They're also going to assign a chair elect for the service territory. And then from there, if you go to see where it says council resources, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 committees. And those will be chosen by the key 3 in a territory. Who's going to run those committees? And so that will take some time. All this is to be done by the annual meeting, which is the end of May. So that's when all this has to be done. Next slide. One of the things that they're going to do, we had our gold and bronze and silver consoles. We're going to go from those 16 or 17 dials to 5. And these are going to be the performance standards. And what the territory's job is to make sure that the consoles get to this. And if they can't get to it, then help them get to it. Find resources that they need. So first one is youth safety, 98% youth protection training. I'd like to see it 100%, quite frankly, and figure out a way to do that. Youth market share. Basically, we take a look at all the available youth in a market, and we want to have 2%. A lot of councils have over that right now, so that shouldn't be a stretch. Youth retention at 62%. This past year, we weren't even anywhere near that. So in the past, we've been in the 70s and 80s. So we can get back to that 72%, 62%. Real important one for financial stability. They want 3 months of cash, basic liquid assets. And that does not mean reserves that you're holding for like the Order of the Arrow and people like that. So those are basically 3 months of cash. Not a lot of our councils have that. In our area, we have 12 councils. 3 of them have that. So that's going to be something that the board of directors is going to have to work on. And the last one is youth, ethnic, and gender diversity. 10% of our membership we want from females. And I think we're about 2% right now. And so we want to be more diverse as we move into the future. So how fast do we want the councils to get to these? We recognize that 20 and 21 are really transitional years with the bankruptcy, the bad press, the pandemic. So we're looking at getting these in place in 2021 and really working on them in 2022. Okay, next. Big thing coming up is there's been a big initiative behind the scenes. National's been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. I'll share this one is the BSA alumni, and it's being run by Ray Cap. There's about 60 volunteers, I think 3 professionals, and BSA has hired a true alumni professional. She has run alumni organizations like at Texas A&M and things like that. So what we have is that database of 50 million scouts. We have to scrub that, probably going to get down to about 20 million. And the game plan is we currently have a lot of BSA alumni chapters. You've got it in the Order of the Arrow, you got it for fire, police, EMTs. You've got it for some of the high adventure camps have alumni units. So we want to put them all under one umbrella in one website. So give you an example, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and my unit was Troop 692 at St. Francis de Sales Church. I was in the Raven Patrol. I would love to be able to find my patrol members from there and reach out to them. And this database is going to try and do that so that I could put in all that information, and then somebody else that was part of it can join, and then we would connect. It's also going to be used in an area to mine resources, both financial and bodies. And we've done a video on this, but before we get to the video, get ready for that, Matt, give you a heads up. There's also a thing, I don't know if you're familiar, but overseas there's a thing called the Rovers. And the Rovers are basically the young adults that have aged out, but they stay in the program. But they do social events. They'll go to football games, basketball games, baseball games. They'll go out hiking. They'll go out camping. So that is being started, and it's going to be called uh, Catalyst. And was started by a bunch of youths in our organization. And Ray Cap, myself, and a couple other people are shepherding that. And so that will be coming out as an initiative. So basically, the concept is if somebody was from the old Hickory Council and got transferred to Dallas, Texas, was involved in scouting, wanted to stay involved, bring their boyfriend or girlfriend with them, they would go to the council in Dallas, look up the Catalyst group, find out when they're meeting, and join them. There's no membership fees, there's no uniforms, it's all social. Okay, go ahead. Can you play this? This is an introduction to the alumni.
Hello, I'm Don Dare, a Scout volunteer and a member of the BSA Alumni Association. The Boy Scouts of America has been around since 1910. In that time, millions of people, men and women, have worn a Scout uniform. Perhaps you are still wearing one. If you are not presently a registered Scout leader, we would like you to reconnect with the organization. If, however, you are a registered leader but not a member of the association, we would like you to join us. The chair of the BSA Alumni Association is Ray Cap. He explains how you can reconnect.
There's several ways to reconnect, and we want to find people wherever they are and offer them a program that makes sense for them. We have several career-based affiliate groups, for example, a legal group, a medical group, a military, a police. We've got EMS. For example, the legal group just did a virtual merit badge of Law Merit Badge, and kids from all over the country got to participate in that. So good work can be done easily by working with people in your career interest. It's the best place to be in scouting right now. It's exciting, it's fun, the people are enthusiastic, and we have a tremendous mission of sharing our love of scouting with the world, and it's working.
The new logo of the BSA Alumni Association is a campfire. You may remember sitting around one in fellowship. This new symbol for the association welcomes you to rekindle your relationship with scouting. Surrounding the fire ring are 12 rocks, reminding us to live by the Scout law. And the circle symbolizes the inclusiveness of scouting. To become a member of the association or just to reconnect with scouting, get in touch with your local Boy Scout Council and ask about joining the BSA Alumni Association. Thank you. I'm Don Dare.
Thank you, Matt. So that gives you a little bit of the alumni. Go ahead, Matt, we'll go back to the next one. So where do we want to go from here? Okay, looking at 2021 and beyond. And the big drive is going to be increasing membership. And we'll go ahead and talk about that.
Bill, we do have actually two questions from the video.
Okay.
First one is, what are the ages of the Catalyst program?
18 to 39.
And then the second one is, will Catalyst prevent those under 25 from being commissioners? That's a big worry for them.
No, they can still be that and still be part of Catalyst.
What about those 40 and over?
We haven't addressed that yet. So, but that's a good question. We may have to start up another program for them, but we're not kicking anybody out at 39. This isn't a scout thing. When you're 18, you age out. This is a social group. So if we find that we get people that want to do something over 40, by all means, we're not going to discourage it. So we just haven't gotten there yet. So good questions. So what do we want to do? 2020 was really a tough year. National was down 43%. The Southern region was down 40%. Area 7 was down 31%. Only one council increase. That was the one I told you about. So that puts us in a tough position for rechartering. And as you know, rechartering is normally down about 30%, and we're projecting 40 to 45% loss on rechartering. And when that happens, our feeders and all that just don't work. So what we want to do is with your consoles for 2021, really do a realistic look at your growth. Okay. And if it's flat, it's flat. If it's down, it's down. But we would like to set a growth that you could beat to generate some momentum. So that's the first thing. Put a realistic growth plan together. Next slide. So our real um, focus was going to be increasing membership over the next couple of years. And one of the great opportunities for that is adding more girls, recruiting more girls into the program. And we've got a big event coming with the first class of Eagle Scouts, female Eagle Scouts coming up. And I would hope that each of your consuls are doing something related to that. There are a ton of consuls doing things like one's renting out Grand Ole Opry and doing it. So there's a lot of things that folks are doing. Give us some positive press. So while we can't get into schools yet, like we used to, we're going to have to find other ways to get into to recruit kids. And I know many of you know John Honeycutt, and John has a whole list of things, and he is very enthusiastic about increasing membership. So what I would do is, if you have any questions on that, and he's close to the Council in Texarkana, and he can share with you their best practices. So I'd recommend getting in touch with John Honeycutt. I am done. I'm 2 minutes ahead. So